myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Let us continue with the proceedings, then, your cross-examination, counsel. Humph. Pray, don't expect this Japanese stray to understand the intricacies of British courts' cross-examination rights. I've got the sword. Alright, my first cross-examination in a British court. Focus. Focus. Hello there, good sirs. I'm here to cross-examine things. No doubt, nothing to doubt about that. Next to each other. I want more information about this. Saw through the skylight and the roof of the carriage. Forgot I can do this. The lamp on inside side. Pretty good view. Two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't make out their faces. There's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded. How can you be so sure? How can I put it politely? Mr. McGilded is a gentleman of rather small stature. Couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. There's no room for doubt here. I really wish there was. Out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts! Oh, that's the... Hold it! Press the Q button to press. Is that the exact moment it happened? Didn't I already testify to that? Tell us what you saw in a little more detail. My lord? Yes, juror number 3, what's the meaning of this? Mine is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Wow! Don't like the stinking rich, never have. Always up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. That little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. Oh, Jesus! There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyways. It's precisely what I was about to say. What? As the foreman of the jury, it is my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. Oi! Stop that! What the? Ah, yes, it seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. 2 guilties! White for innocent and black for guilty. 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case. One by one, they each cast the ball of fire into the great scales of justice. As enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's make sure that doesn't happen. Oh, God! I'm just as worried as I was before. How can they do this? I pressed 2 statements! This is a nightmare! I just wanted more information! Hold it! He's always shaking. Seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. Hat design. Great knife. crap, we're gonna lose the jury. Ah, the murder weapon, finally. Yes, Count. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. It is a blade of considerable size, Count. Furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned with a certain initial, the letter M. Nope. Well, it could have been his knife! Or M for Mason?
Objection!
Come on, not the slaps again.
Objection!
Oh my gosh, he's got a British objection. Far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to vote. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, Counsel. Oh boy. Oh no, the maid. No! Grandma, I need your help! Uh-huh. We've only pressed 3 statements! Grandma! That's 4 to 6 jury members who proposed a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left! Every time I press these witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse! Oh no! Britain doesn't mess around indeed! This might be the fastest trial in history! Oh my lord! Okay, I need a break. This is stressing me out. I'll be back in a minute. Oh, Lord. Alright, let's listen to the statements again, I guess. I saw it. How did you see it? From where?
Hold it!
What exactly did you see? The passenger, sir, collapsed on the floor. Other passenger had the knife in his hand, like this. He held the knife backwards. How did you see that? He stabbed him again? Oh, knows no philanthropist, my lord. Only the innocent and the guilty. Good deeds mean nothing when overshadowed by evil. The truth is everything. So when it happened, the only two people in the closed cabin area were the victim and the defendant. And so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend do the deed. Is Gilded really innocent? No. Well, it shouldn't be possible for you to have seen it. I'm not sure if that's what I need to do here. I guess I can present the autopsy report because it says he was only stabbed once. There's the M. This is a W. Yeah, like it feels like there would have been someone across the aisle who stabbed him. Where's my options is G. We're gonna save. It could be a W, but I don't think we've gone far enough into the trial to admit that. I'm gonna object with the autopsy report.
Objection!
No, that's wrong. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna just game the system real quick. Don't mind me. Just rewind a bit. We're gonna go back and press every statement.
Hold it!
Okay, nothing with these dudes. Other passengers. Being so cold. 20 pence on the run. Just can't believe it, sir. I can't believe it. Murder on my own bus. Why are you freezing inside the courtroom? Oh no. Grandma, we need your help! Grandma! I was a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. Grandpa! Madam Juror number 6. Yes, dear? What can I do for you? I've heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand. Oh, yes, I certainly have. I still got my hearing, you know. Then pray tell, why are you not yet pronounce your leaning? Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. McGilded Park, it's called. Gentleman donated it to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. He's always doing wonderful things for the city, that's right. Men like that wouldn't stab someone, surely. Mother, may we go to the McGilded Public Library later to borrow some more books? How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do people not know? What kind of a man Magnus McGilded really is? What kind of a man is he? The philanthropist Magnus McGilded has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. Where did all that wealth come from? Client is a Shylock, sir. One with the very darkest of souls. What? Stone the crows! Gilded lends money at an extraordinary rate of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they owe. He's a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard any mention of that before. Grandma, no! Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So this thought not cross your mind? How would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? Possible reason because this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service. You're not saying that. The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name save considerable financial liability. Come as no surprise his creditors, the accused, Magnus McGilded. But let it also be known the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts. Good gracious! Brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debt. In the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him, his life. But the merciless philanthropist pretender Magnus McGilded.
Hold it!
Believe it. Susato might add something briefly. Claimed the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded. Where's the evidence to support your claim? Ooh, he's got a wine glass. Pray, forgive the discourtesy of filling my hollowed chalice in a court of law. Ha, there it is! Lord Van Zeek's hollowed chalice! How can this be considered acceptable? I find myself in an unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage. Didn't expect to experience it myself. As judicial assistant to the defense, I am simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Want me to present this ledger as evidence? Pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice and toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. Marvelous toast, counsel. I will gladly accept this new evidence. Ah yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum. Who else is in this list? portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London's gentry. Oh dear, do you really think we ought to look inside? Yes! Not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Actually, I wonder. We will not find Mr. Sholmes' name inside. It appears to be written in Doctor. They're probably not all gentlemen, are they? Bruce Fairplay? Bruce? That's one of the witnesses! The banker! Borrowed 20 guineas, didn't he? Look, their payment date is fast approaching. Bruce! My friend! Why have you not repaid your loan? Is it just the same thing again? Hughes made quite certain he had ample recompense. Well, it would seem I've had the wool pulled over my eyes. Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused. Such a pretty little park, too. What a scoundrel. No, stop! Grandma! Still, maybe it's all for the best. Wait a minute. Let's think about this a little more before. I don't stand for nonsense! Grandma, no! The last jury's decision. According to this Encyclopedia of British Law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. Ah, the final verdict? It's over then. Oh. There's a footnote, though. However, the defense... God damn it! Read faster! Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I have now concluded the trial by delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no objections. Object, damn it! Just Sato, just tell me one thing. You were in the middle of saying something before. A footnote in your encyclopedia. However, the defense. What did it say next? Ah, yes, of course. One moment. All members of the jury. Yeah, we heard that part. Yes! Skip to the footnote! Has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors? Yes! A summation examination?
Objection!
Summation examination? From which century has that tome you have there been resurrected? Judging from its binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. The modern text on British law wouldn't give such antiquated procedures a mention. It's a relic long forgotten and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. What even is it, this summation examination? Oh, one moment. I'll read about it. You would demand the right to procedure before you even understand what it entails? Typical Japanese. Alright, I think I understand. Yeah, this book's got everything. You're able to appeal to the members of the jury. Allow them to change their leading and reverse their decisions. It says here that, if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decision? Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision, but that procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit. It fell out of use. I wonder why. Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would assert his right to try in this day and age. Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, antiquated, it isn't extinct. What do you think? Mission examination. Our last possible option. Do we assert our right to carry it out or admit defeat? Forget it, we're done. No, we're gonna assert our right. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
You can't object. London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. Duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
It's alright, it's alright. I believe it could prove vital in this trial. Vince's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summation examination. This is madness. Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? Eh? Well, I'm not, there is no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so all members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. On what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Well, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot. This is most irregular. No mention was made of this before. I don't really hold with all this justifying lark. It seems to have thrown the jurors off. It seems none of them have experienced this before. Alright then. Summation examination. Defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe, it might be the opportunity we've been looking for to turn this trial around. So be it then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant guilty of this most serious crime. Judicial findings? There's no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. Stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I might say. Absolutely brazen. I've simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn logical conclusion. You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised the prices above 4 pence for... Wait! 4 pence? I thought it totaled 20 pence. A scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor. That's 3 things that are wrong. I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I have to throw everything I can at them. Some very persuasive language. Just a moment. Uh-oh, what? According to my book, that's not quite how it works. I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. So I've got to conflict their statements with themselves. Could recoil on it. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about British law. Right, I'm sorry. They're gonna chuck their own statements at each other? Either this procedure is using the jurors all... Yes! 6 members of the jury are randomly selected. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. Yay! It's a way to break them down? Yes. Let's listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says. See if we can identify any contradictory statements. Well, I found one. slap yourself in the face. I will pull this off. Ooh, a double slap. Can we start proceedings, counsel? I ask you take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. Hello there. Hello, the jury. Let's grab this guy's.
Objection!
Two statements clearly contradict each other. They do? Explain yourself, counsel. Me? Oh dear, what have I said? I swear on Silver Blaze's mane and name, I haven't the first idea what you're talking about! According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus on the night in question. According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares. Quite right, are those precise details typed neatly here in front of me. Juror number 5 also told us the following. Fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. It is a fair and convenient single price, the way London's carriages should be operated. That doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts. Why, man, why? 4 passengers paying 4 pence each. Do the multiplication. It would be 16 pence! Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. Precisely 1 person's fare. 1 person's fare? Yes, in other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible there was another passenger we've heard nothing about! Good gracious! This can't be right! The coachmen of the guild are good, honest men, one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword. Figures your coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy. I beg your pardon? Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that this trial were to end now, news will surely spread all over London. News that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious cheaters ride on his omnibus. Alright then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end? We got him! According to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire onto the innocent side of the set of scales. Now hold your horses there, coachman! We were all in agreement. Why do you get to go and... Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo! I changed sides! Yay! We're in! Oh, this is all very irritating. Begging your pardon, sir, I'm going to do the same. Ooh, we got 2! Hell yeah! For the love of Mike! Not you as well! Oh, why thank you, juror number 1. I haven't heard that saying before, but... A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my existing standards for financial matters. Oh, really? I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witness again. Whew! Managed to change 2 more jurors' minds! 2 more? Actually, there's something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertion. Probably going to be 3 and 6. Juror number 1 doesn't seem to care, and juror number 4's got everything typed up. Yeah, the stabbing. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination.
Objection!
2 statements are contradictory. What? Explain, counsel, post haste. Oh, dearie me, I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. What? What's all this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? Heard from more than one witness that they literally saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3. What? Can't you see I'm busy here? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it? Ah, wanna test me, do you? Like this, stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up, just like the prim banker said. Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony, quite true. Now then, juror number 6. Oh, is that me, is it? What can I do for you, young man? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam? Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so. Now, don't move. Take a look at these 2 jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. Well, I never. They're stabbing in totally different directions. What? Bless my stitches, what a muddle. What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth. Oh! But why? Why the dickens would they lie? I don't know that yet. What I do know is that the trial ends at this point. We may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in a good conscience? Lies, you say? Oh, dearie me. I can't abide by people telling lies. We've balanced the scales. The scales. I don't believe it. Wait! Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him in his black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on all us. If I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this? Answer me this, Dark Jinx. Huh? Me? What exactly is the problem? What if 2 witnesses have slightly different recollections of event? What of it? Let's just say the Shylock did stab the victim as he sat next to him on the omnibus. This young dandy saw him do it. Now let's say the victim collapses on the floor and then the Shylock stabbed him again. So lady saw him do it. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that? The autopsy report, hello? Who are you calling old? Why, I should take this needle to you. They're ready to kill each other. Would the foreman of the jury be right? The 2 witnesses see 2 different moments of the same crime? Out of the question! I've read the autopsy report. Fortunately, Mr. Foreman. What is it, you Dark Jinx? Come on, out with it! What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. A foreman of the jury have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. They do. Where's your evidence, man? I said that 2 witnesses saw 2 different moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of the question, show me some proof. Looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is by presenting him with something he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable evidence. As you wish. What? I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that 2 witnesses saw 2 different moments of the same crime, as proven by the autopsy report that says result of a single stab wound to the abdomen.
Take that!
I used my eyeballs to read. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen only once. Only once? It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely 1 time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen 2 different times. Alright, I concede defeat. Yay! We're back in this, baby! Wait, that means 4 jurors are now leaning to not guilty! We won! It's a temporary victory. What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me. We had a consensus. I said shut your trap. I know a liar when I see one. And if the chap ever does dare to cross the threshold of my shop, I'll take this rather sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head. Please tell me he's a barber. Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. Jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there's no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to adjudicate this and this trial must continue. Hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places. Call upon you all to continue your pursuit of the truth. Thank you, Your Honor. So, Lord Van Zieks, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. That was pretty impressive. Would you like a drink? Ah. He's a professional. Oh! Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hollow chalice, it may seem crass to crush into dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zieks! Is it cold in here, or is it just me? As your antiquated tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during the summation examination. So I honored a deathly silence and listened to the charade. Looks like I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. No, and why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Ooh, he threw off his cape! Bring forth the witnesses once more! He's getting serious. Alright, so the middle guy owes money to the defendant. I trust you heard the summation examination. You, sir, on the end, the coachman. I believe it's Beppo? Yes, sir, my lord, sir. Transpires that in your previous testimony, you were attempting to veil the presence of a 5th passenger on your omnibus. You'll be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir. Oh, mio Dio. Mio Dio! Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination. Ooh, he's looking to the right this time! I only carried 4 passengers that night, I swear it, but, well, I, for one, was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. He fiddled us on the fare, he did, and I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much! I tell you, I saw Mr. McGilvin stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Oh, yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, at least. Oh, baby. Counsel, make sense of this for me, please. The phantom 5th passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. Confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little cozenage. Papa, explain yourself! Terribly sorry, Guildmaster. Guild's fare is 4 pence across the board, you know that. I understand you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare? It's so cold, the last run of the day is always half empty. You have been dishonest, coachman. I'm sorry. You're a disgrace, Papa, a disgrace! Your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild. If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week. What?! 4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. Oh, that figures. It would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please. You've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. See, you intend to continue the parlor games. Absolutely. Let's play some parlor games. Alright, so what do we know now? Stab wound, knife in the abdomen, hat is covering his face, there's blood on the glove, that's a bus. There's an M on the knife, and Bruce needs to repay his debts immediately. Okay.
Hold it!
I want to press hold it on this one. So the defendant stabbing the victim. What bothered me before this was just the brief moment he hesitated before answering the question. Like the two of them inside the carriage. There's been much talk of a fifth passenger, but as yet zero evidence. You doing alright, sir? You're looking kinda... If I push it here... You look very shocked. I don't know if that's important or not. I got Mr. Fabler's testimony just jars with me. Wish I could work out what it was. You think so?
Hold it!
You testified you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Yes, that's right. You said the victim was on the floor. Described the assailant holding the knife as an ice pick grip. No, you're just standing like that all the time, okay. I suppose I might have, you know, yes. Put the cart before the horse, maybe. What's this? Quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard a scream coming from the roof deck. Ooh, that was me, sir! Yes, I saw it through the skylight. What? How? He was on the floor and the knife was sticking out of his midriff. The fellow holding the handle was the famous man, yes. How could you have seen through the skylight?
Struth!
Excuse me, sir. Why are you chewing on your cane?
Excuse me!
Excuse me. You have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay? You're asking me, you're telling me. You just happened to see the exact moment of the crime was committed? No chance! It's a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on top of an omnibus, that is. Peeping! I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as Ballard Day. It's a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me if it's getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord. I'd ask you supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what you actually saw. Oh, I can do that, all right. Tell you just how grim it was. Think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after the butcher's... Blood-soaked? That's not right. This barely constitutes blood-soaked. This isn't blood-soaked.
Objection!
I don't... You didn't see anything, you hack. Blood-soaked hands. Well, I admit that soaked might be laying it on a little thick, but... But anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree. Oh, he's doing the smug pose with the hand on the katana. Yes, Anosa. Oh, you're right. They've got similar faces. albeit different hairstyles. This guy looks more like Abe Lincoln. Yes, they're a dark-colored stain, but I'm pretty sure you can see there's not... It's only on one glove. Arg! In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. But no, that can't be right. So you're the liar here then. Grr. That's right, you were quite clear about it. You said it was both hands. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands, it was only one, but the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the
Objection!
Mr. Fairplay categorically said he saw blood all over both hands, which means there's a strong possibility this witness was literally trying to mislead the court. Why, I'm a city banker. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate. He's claiming to have no reason to lie, but is that really the case? We've got evidence to say otherwise. Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in his testimony. I have evidence! My lord. Yes, counsel? The defense is ready to present evidence. By Jove, are you sure? Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony. Gah! Very well, I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. Evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness's alleged deception of the court. He's inside the ledger. This is a list of the debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused extortion. Point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused? No, well, it's barely worth it being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas, not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? Arg! Well, what of it? Let's suppose Mr. McGilded would be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? These documents state the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Or were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist. Well, looks like you're a bad person. Is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? A devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant? Sorry, Fairplay, looks like you're off the stand. Order! Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Yes, my lord. I ask you again, and be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Grrr. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time in which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim? There was no fair play from Mr. Fairplay. Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. Alright, now let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth in a pinch. But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on his hands.
Objection!
Both of them. Yet only one of his gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained. So you keep saying. I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir. What is it, Mr. Lady First? Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens. Seeing what? The blood, sir. On the assailant's hands. I think, yes. I'm almost sure that it was on both of his hands, not just one. Huh? What? Then what's with the gloves? It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. This time I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear? Yargs? Is this good news? Oh boy. There's blood on both hands of the assailant, I remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment of the stabbing transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself, no, not until I heard that scream. Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen. Well, lo and behold. Truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment that the crime was perpetrated. Apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. Much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it. That's really not what testimony's about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. Victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witness's accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case. Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel. Ooh, thunder. There's blood on both hands of the assailant, I remember that. I'm impressed.
Hold it!
Evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves the defendant was wearing. What I saw and I stand by it, and had blood on both his hands. Your reasoning is dire. One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. As after the grim crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused fingers. Or I suppose you might say I didn't see the exact moment that stabbing transpired, if that matters. I need to talk to first.
Hold it!
Yeah, give me some more to work with first. Both hands, you say. What? No gloves. Out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported that there was no trace of blood on his gloved hands. Huh?
Hold it!
Did not see anything. Horses. Shut up, Ryunosuke, not now. It was so cold. My head was frozen solid. Papo! Saw the incident was through the skylight on the roof. That only lets you see two seats. couldn't enter. Locked. No, you can't see everything through the skylight. Find this omnibus. It's sitting in the back seats. The seats directly below you would have been in a blind spot. Ooh, it's raining.
Objection!
Quiet, Van Zeeks. Russian demands you substantiate your claims. For all the scene of the crime is here in the flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. Identify the area on this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting this potential extra passenger could have been situated? Well, gee! It's almost like there's a whole section of seats you wouldn't be able to see.
Take that!
All doors are seats on the roof facing the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other. Means visible part of the cabin with passengers on the roof that can't see through the skylight, as I've drawn here. Where do we get that gentleman stamp? Seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. Hold on, I need to double check something about the cart. Seat has a handle. Aha! There's stuff inside. All sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep the omnibus running. The storage compartment. What about this? This side doesn't have anything. Can I look at that little empty space? Can I fit a person in there? Okay. That's all I needed to look at. They could have hid underneath the seat.
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. Japanese have a forbidden habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In British Court of Law, evidence is paramount. You cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude. No, I can't. Who could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witness on the roof of the deck? I got nothing. We haven't gotten many names. What people do we have? Are the jurors in here? No, the jurors aren't in here. In that case, we barely know anything. I guess it could have been Mason. Oh no. Proud citizen of the Japanese Empire. Look to the sky and walk off. Okay. Well, there's two options. Toast to hard lessons not yet learned. Not delay, Council. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. Tonight, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was... It's either Magnus McGilded or Mason. I'm gonna guess Mason first.
Take that!
Feeling the blind spot of the cabin that night. Other than this sense, nope. Whoops! So it's the defendant then, probably. Victim and the real culprit. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's gotta be McGilded. Okay, thank you for spelling it out to me, game. I figured it out, I just guessed the wrong coin flip. Happens all the time.
Take that!
Is my good friend, the leprechaun defendant. Passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witness on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Mr. McGilded? What are you talking about, Counsel? That's the name of the defendant.
Objection!
Oh my god, he slammed it into the candle thing in the back. If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hollow chalice, I do forgive the discourtesy. How many of those does he have? People talk of those tiny in a culture of their own. See, they use terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say? Explain in terms even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. The ladies scene unfolded. The victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to this fact. Very premise on which this case is built. By that premise, may be wrong. What? The victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded. It creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What inconsistency? Defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim. Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bathed in gory remains. The point is, in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yes, their testimony remains unchanged. Exactly, they both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. Somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands, both of them. And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit! Extraordinary! Order, order, order! What are you postulating?
Objection!
This postulation is just that, nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated they saw the accused. When the elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats. I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yes. Tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. What particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport? I'm afraid I don't remember. Do you call yourself a hatter? Style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be so sure? As if there had been, the accused Mr. McGilded would undoubtedly have offered to dispense defense. Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. Had the accused failed to even notice the presence of the true culprit at the very cabin which he traveled? Ah! He was asleep! He is right. There's another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. It's inconceivable Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Yeah, it's sleeping! Hello? Bring in the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand. Well, what say you, counsel? Prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As the suspect, you have already made a full statement to the police. But there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely. Agnes McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. It indeed turns out the man has been withholding information. You can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion? Should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not? I demand his testimony. I need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. Defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand. In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Yes, I need a little time to consider this. Ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say. Get the man out here, I say. Utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. Something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild. Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say, oh yes, that would be lovely. Grandma is my favorite jury. The jury says the man must be heard. Very well, the court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Alright, we are going to stop here for today. We made a hell of a lot of progress, and we can hear what Mr. McGilded has to say next time. Thank you all for coming out and watching. I hope to see you next time where we press our defendant for everything he's got and hopefully come to the truth. Goodbye.